Stop me if this sounds familiar. The night before a big test or deadline, you're hunched over a desk that looks like a war zone of highlighters, half-drunk coffee cups, and sticky notes screaming random formulas. Your brain feels like an over-microwave burrito, piping hot on the outside, frozen solid at the core. You keep telling yourself the hustle is noble, that real champions grind, yet deep down a quieter voice whispers the brutal truth you're not learning. You're just surviving. Now imagine rolling that same night forward to dawn, walking into the exam room, and feeling a clean snap of certainty as every question blooms with answers, because you train your brain like a precision instrument instead of beating it like a rusty drum. Here's the crazy revelation you may have suspected but never proved. Learning is less about time spent than about biological timing, less about Herculean willpower than about gaming the machinery between your ears. In 2025, the hottest knowledge on Google isn't study longer, it's study smarter, because attention is oil and everyone wants drills that strike the richest cognitive wells with the fewest wasted blows. So lean in. For the next few minutes, we'll rip through 7 brain hacking techniques, each backed by hard neuroscience, trending search data, and street-tested stories that will let you slice study hours in half while pumping results through the roof. You'll feel the difference tonight. You'll see the scoreboard tomorrow, and by next week, people will start whispering that you must have some kind of secret. They'll be right. First, let's detonate the myth that shackles millions. You probably grew up believing repetition equals mastery. Wrong. Your neurons crave novelty, like toddlers crave color. Enter interleave practice. Instead of pounding one subject for hours, you rotate topics the way a DJ flips tracks, forcing the brain to constantly reconfigure. Think algebra, then language vocab, then back to algebra from a fresh angle. The momentary confusion isn't failure, it's signal amplification. Studies show interleaving can double long-term retention because each switch forces your cortex to reload frameworks rather than coasting on autopilot. So tomorrow, ditch the marathon and run a relay inside your own head. But rotation alone won't stick the landing unless you leverage the second hack. Retrieval over review. Most students reread notes, mistaking familiarity for understanding. Your memory laughs at that. It only grows when forced to pull answers out of the dark. So close the textbook sooner than feels comfortable and quiz yourself out loud. Flashcards, blank page brain dumps, or teaching a pet goldfish with theatrical hand gestures doesn't matter. What matters is squinting inward, dragging the data back into daylight, and letting the brain reinforce the pathway it just used. Rereading paints information on a whiteboard. Retrieval carves in stone. Of course, recall needs fuel, and that leads to hack 3, space repetition. Picture memory like wet cement. Dump everything at once and it puddles. Pour in layers with proper curing time, and you can build skyscrapers. Practically, this means reviewing bite-sized chunks on day 1, day 3, day 7, day 14, each interval widening as recollection solidifies. Apps like Anki automate the schedule, turning your phone into a personal librarian that never sleeps. Spacing isn't glamorous, but it's the difference between knowledge that crumbles under stress and knowledge that stands when windstorms hit. Hack 4 slips under the radar, yet might be the secret sauce: dual coding. Humans evolved to navigate pictures long before we ever juggled abstract symbols. When you pair an idea with a simple sketch, diagram, or even a mental scene rendered in IMAX detail, you harness a second storage lane in the visual cortex. Words fade, images linger. Next time you tackle a biochemical pathway, draw it like a subway map with neon arrows. Processing Shakespeare? Cast the characters in a comic strip staged on your notebook margin. The sillier the illustration, the stickier the memory. Now, none of the above survives a sleep-deprived mind, so hack 5 is non-negotiable. Strategic napping. 20 minutes of midday shut-eye isn't laziness. It's neuromaintenance flushing adenosine, tightening synapses, and boosting vigilance up to 200%. NASA pilots and Silicon Valley coders swear by it, and algorithmic search spikes every finals week confirm students are catching on. The protocol is simple. Early afternoon, dark room, alarm set. Lay down, breathe deep, pretend you're powering off computer to install updates, because that's exactly what your brain is doing. Hack 6 weaponizes a sense most people ignore while studying: hearing. Specifically, the power of 40 Hz binaural beats and lo-fi loops designed to prime a brainwave state called gamma synchronization, the rhythm associated with high-order cognition and memory binding. Spotify now hosts thousands of study-smart playlists exploding in popularity because they cloak the perceptual background with a gentle hum of coherence. Think of it as sonic scaffolding. Silence can be suffocating, pop lyrics distracting, but a carefully tuned gamma bed is cognitive caffeine without the jitters. Pop in good headphones, let the pulses braid your focus, and feel the mental fog evaporate. Finally, hack 7, the mind movie technique. Before a big test, athletes visualize victory. You will do the same with knowledge. Sit back, close your eyes, and run a vivid internal trailer tomorrow. Walking into the room, flipping the test, watching each question bloom with answers you summon effortlessly. Feel gratitude in advance. Let confidence surge. Neuroscientists call this pre-experience. It rehearses neural firing patterns identical to real performance, priming pathways to fire smoother under pressure. Do it nightly, and the exam becomes déjà vu. At this point, you might worry these hacks are too many to juggle. Human bandwidth is finite. Here's a meta move that binds them. Stack, don't split. Picture an evening flow like the space flashcards for 15 minutes, retrieval ticking. Switch subjects, interleave, sketch a concept from each dual code. Run a quick self-quiz, break for a power nap, loop in gamma beats during every study burst, and close the night with a mind movie. Seamless. 90 minutes total, yet rich with layered neurochemistry. Remember, the modern world worships visible grind. Time-lapse clips of endless annotation, 12-hour study vlogs drenched in pastel aesthetics. But virality doesn't equal validity. What search trends whisper is deeper. People crave results without burnout, edge without ego. That's your hidden advantage. While peers brag about sleepless marathons, you'll master the quietly ruthless art of less but better. Imagine final grades rising while screen time drops. Imagine weekends are claimed. Imagine your identity shifting from anxious crammer to calm strategist. That shift is coming faster than you think. Every search query screaming, "Study smart," is another breadcrumb leading viewers to this very moment. Now zoom out. These skills aren't confined to classrooms. Interleaving fuels creativity for entrepreneurs juggling projects. Retrieval sharpens lawyers recalling precedent mid-trial. Space repetition fortifies language learners planning world travel. Dual coding helps designers pitch ideas visually. Strategic naps keep surgeons precise in marathon operations. Gamma soundscapes boost coders hunting elusive bugs. Mind movies empower athletes before a clutch free throw. The 7 hacks become universal adaptive software. Upload once, run anywhere. Before we wrap, let me address the inevitable skeptic voice. If this is so effective, why isn't everyone doing it? Simple, because simplicity is counterintuitive. We're wired to equate value with pain, to distrust ease. Yet every disruptive technology looked like cheating at first. Calculators, spell check, GPS brain hacking is the next frontier, invisible but potent. Early adopters will leapfrog, laggards will label them gifted. Which camp will you choose? Take a breath. Picture tomorrow evening. You're about to study, but this time the desk is clean, the plan razor-focused. Phone on airplane mode, playlist humming at 40 Hz. Timer set for 15. You cycle through chemistry, economics, and history. Sketch weird comics in the margins. Quiz yourself ruthlessly. Laugh at mistakes, correct, repeat. Halfway through, you drop into a quick nap. Wake refreshed. Finish the loop, then close your eyes for a cinematic rehearsal of exam day. Total time invested, under 2 hours. Expected ROI, life-changing. Weirdly, the human brain is less like a filing cabinet and more like a jungle trail. Every trek clears brush. Neglect lets vines swallow the path. That's the ugly truth Ebbinghaus charted in his Forgetting Curve back in 1885. Revived today as viral infographics, plunging like roller coasters. Space repetition slices through that curve. Each revisitation hacks away vines before they thicken, and suddenly the trail becomes a highway. Still, memory isn't merely storage, it's energy. Every recall burned glucose. That's why the nap ritual matters more than a wall full of motivational quotes telling you to sleep when you're dead. MIT's fMRI study last winter tracked students who micronapped after cramming versus those who powered through. The nappers' hippocampi lit up like festival lanterns the next day, while the no-sleep group scans looked dim and glitchy, especially in pattern recognition zones. Translation: smarter rest equals smarter recall. Sound, the sixth hack secret weapon, operates on subtler real estate. Imagine two metronomes on the same board. At first they tick apart, but vibrations through the surface eventually sync them. Binaural beats do that inside your skull. Left ear hears 440 hertz. Right ear hears 480 hertz. And the brainstem registers the 40 hertz difference as a wobble, nudging neural assemblies into synchronized firing. Early skeptics scoffed until Stanford EEG studies showed measurable upticks in gamma power and test score gains. The data is done arguing. Visualization finale has an even longer pedigree. Ancient Greek orators built memory palaces to deliver hours-long speeches verbatim. Modern chess grandmasters run entire tournament trees in their mind's eye. Your mind movie borrows that lineage and straps a blockbuster budget onto it. The more multisensory the rehearsal, the creak of the chair, the smell of fresh ink, the micro-texture desk with the deeper the encoding. Neuroscientist Emily Cook calls this total immersion recall, and her lab has measured 30% jumps in complex problem accuracy after just 3 nights practice. But let's get raw. Meet Carlos, a third-year engineering student who emailed me last semester. He was flunking thermodynamics, drowning in derivations. We built him a 7-layer stack. 30-minute interleave blocks mixing thermo with guitar scales his passion. Anki cards quizzing core formulas. Nightly mind movies of white bars sliding into place. Power naps between lectures. Lo-fi gamma beats pulsing through bone conduction headphones. Sketches turning entropy equations into cartoon volcanoes. And a Friday self-quiz gauntlet. 8 weeks later, his professor announced Carlos had posted the highest midterm jump in class history, 43 points. Carlos isn't a statistical fluke. He's a preview of your future, if you execute. Yet I can almost hear excuses. My schedule's insane, I work 2 jobs, my siblings need help. Exactly why efficiency matters. Imagine compressing 6 hours of scattershot study into 2 laser-focused sessions, so you can clock out earlier and still outpace classmates. The hacks are democratic, they care nothing about background, only applied method. That brings us to a blunt reality check. The internet offers endless tools, yet tools do nothing until a habit wields them. Set a 7-day commitment alarm right now, yes, literally now, because intention without timestamp evaporates. When the buzzer hits each evening, document which hacks you use, rate focus on a 5-star scale, and post a score. Tiny public stakes convert abstract goals into concrete momentum. Clock's ticking. Attention's currency. Your future self is on hold waiting for upgraded software. Break the red tape of outdated study myths. Punch in the 7-digit code and step through the door marked smart. The grind is dead. Long live precision. Remember, brains that adapt dominate. So slam that subscribe, share the hacks, and I'll see you on the other side of average, because smart isn't something you are. It's something you do now, fast, on purpose, without apology.